beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video that's going to be a little bit of a new video for me. I'm going to do 4 different eye looks. Yes, 4 different eye looks with 4 brand new indie palettes that came into my life, and I'm going to do swatches and 1 look with each, and then we can see which one is the best, what are some pros, what are some cons, just like, you know, getting a little feel of what's new in the world. And if you haven't been here before, if this is your first video here, hello, my name is Angie. I'm such a lover of beauty makeup. I especially love indie makeup and colorful things, so I felt like this could be a really fun video. And if you're interested in that, do stay tuned. We're getting into it right now. So I got sent all 4 of these palettes in PR, and they all reached me somewhat at the same time, and I thought that all of them looked really pretty and I wanted to like use them in videos, but I didn't want to do 4 dedicated videos because it's honestly too much, and I also don't want to focus that much on the new. So I thought instead I'll do a video where I use all 4 of these palettes and I will show you some swatches, and then I will do a look, and then I will show you swatches of the next palette, and then I will do a look. So that's basically what we're gonna do. These are 4 different palettes. This is the Bard palette by Fantasy Cosmetica. This one hasn't been released yet. And then there is the Mattes palette by Drizzle Cosmetics. An all matte palette. This one is available now. And then we have the Gourmande Girls and Doodles The Bunny, the Spooked palette. This one, I don't think that this one has been released yet either. And then we have the Strange and Unusual palette by Beauté bar. This one has been released, and I'm fairly sure that this one sold out, but I think it's available as a pre-order. I will leave info to all of these palettes, where you can find them, how much they are, when they're being released, in the description box. So don't forget to check the description box. All the info are gonna be there. I did receive all of these as PR, but this video is not sponsored. I decided to do a video like this on my own. I do have a code though, and it's the same code with all 4 of these brands, and it is Angelica. If you do decide to shop something, you can save 10% off. Do let me know your thoughts about this video, if this is a kind of video that you would like to see in the future. Just like swatches and a look, just combining different releases in one video. I love showing you the new stuff, but I also like don't want to take up the entire week showing you 1 palette each day. So let me know what you think. I'm open for suggestions, but let's jump in to look number 1. Oh, let me tell you as well, look number 2, the one that is with the mattes. I accidentally had the microphone off when I was filming the tutorial look, but I realized it before I was completely done. So that one is going to be just a little bit shorter, and it's going to be with a voiceover instead, but I really did enjoy the look and I enjoyed working with this palette, so I didn't want to scrap the material. So excuse me for unfortunately forgetting to put the microphone on, but I hope I was able to somewhat save it. I will put some chapters as well, some timestamps, if you want to jump in between the looks, if you want to see the swatches again, if you want to come back and like, I don't know, recreate any of the looks. Okay, enough information, let's jump in. It's time for the first look, and it's gonna be with the Bard palette. I have swatched some of the shimmers, and I kind of want to try and do something with the green, just because I feel like some of the other palettes, at least 2 of them, are leaning a little bit more of that like orangey red. So I think I might start with the green, and I'm probably gonna blend it out with the yellow. So I'm just gonna see if I can do a nice green eye look with this palette. That is really nice. I think I'm gonna keep it like that. And then we'll go in with the yellow and see if we can soften the edges with the yellow. I think that could be really nice, because then we can have a nice warm edge on this, but while still being somewhat monochromatic. So I just soften a little bit on the edges with a clean brush, trying to make this look a little less choppy before we go in with Performance, that yellowy shade. So with this, again, you know I love this kind of a shape on a brush. like almost a rectangular poofy brush. We're just gonna buff some of the yellow on the edge. I have high hopes for how this is gonna look. So this is the color Lure, and we are gonna put that on our entire lids. Oh, that is gonna go so well with this. Wow. I think I'm gonna see if I can just put a little bit of this matte color just on the edge here to make this blend a little bit more. I think that turned out really good. So what do I kind of have for my inner corners? Because like I like how this looks, but I really do not want to put, or do I want to put the yellow? Is that what I want to do? Maybe we'll do that. Wait, let me see how that looks. Or is this going to be way too dark, or is it going to be okay if we just do the yellow? It is just not light enough for me, for my liking. So I'm gonna go into Rebirth. It is just a lighter yellow. This is from my palette with Oden's Eye. I'm just gonna use that instead because it is lighter. And that is what I like. I like a really light inner corner, but that looks really nice. So this is the finished look, the somewhat monochromatic green using a little bit of yellow. And yeah, I did reach in to get something a little lighter in my inner corners, but if you're of a deeper skin tone than me, I'm sure you could use this as more of a brightening inner corner highlight. I really liked how it looked. I didn't really feel like I had any problems working with these shadows. I have worked with Fantasy Cosmetica from before, and I will say I think the mattes are good, but not amazing. What really is the shining star in these palettes are the shimmer shades, but I think they chose really good matte shades to go with this palette, and as you can see here, they're definitely workable. There's nothing impossible with this palette at all. They're not bad shades, definitely not. I just wouldn't name them top 5 matte shade formulas in my book. But yeah, I like the look. I think it looks really pretty. Now let's get into the next one. As you will notice in this tutorial, and I'm gonna do this a little bit quicker because I accidentally did not have my microphone on. See, this is what happens when you try to be good with technique stuff. I didn't have a microphone on, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a voiceover, and I am gonna shorten this tutorial up a little bit, and then I'll come back at the end and talk about the makeup. But I did want to do a makeup look that was purple on one side and blue on the other side, because I had seen thumbnails of people doing looks with this palette, and all of them were basically incorporating both the blues and the purples together. So I wanted to do something monochromatic, but still using both of the color stories. So I was trying to find a purple that was as deep as the deepest teal that's called Jaded. So I ended up using the purple that's called Plum Posse. And then I used it like I always do, just putting it in the outer corner, trying to map out the shade of the darkest color so that we can have a similar shape and a similar depth on both sides. Because I will say the best way of making a look work that is one color on one eye and another color on the other eye is to make sure that they have a similar shape and a similar depth. That will make everything more symmetrical even when they're technically two different colors. That's why I'm trying really hard to make sure that both the two deepest colors and the two middle colors, which of course is the middle turquoise, there's only 3 turquoises in this palette, that is turquoise C, and then I'm deciding to use the Orchid Crazy, which is a purple that I feel is the same depth to the turquoisey one, and I feel like it ended up being really good. The lightest turquoise that's called Sea Glass is actually not as light as the lightest purple that's called Lavender Ice, and you will see that as I start to finish this look up, that the turquoisey side is just a smidge darker in the inner corner than the lavender one, and that is why I decided to use a little bit of the lightest color in the ColourPop Mint to Be. You don't have to have this palette to be able to make something like this work. You don't even have to have this palette from Sugar Drizzle to make this work. I'm just showing that sometimes layering a lighter color just in the inner part can give you that illusion, or not even illusion, but actually give you that lighter thing that you need. This is why matte whites and matte blacks can be so helpful when you're trying to find the exact depth that you're looking for, because they can help you to lighten up or darken up a color to your desired depth. I ended up matching these looks with a different eyeliner for each looks as well. Both of these are from Oden's Eye. I used the purple one side and the mint on the other side. I think it all looks very, very good. So I am gonna go into the part now where I'm actually having the microphone on, where you can actually see and both see and hear me. I'm sorry about this mistake. I tried to rescue it as best as I can. I hope you enjoyed the looks. Let's get into me actually talking about the palette. I am so sorry that I did not have the microphone on. I had been filming another video and then I was sitting down to just film another look and I forgot to put the microphone on. I'm so sorry. I hope the voiceover was somewhat helpful. I'm really sorry about that, but I love this look. I really love this look. I feel like I was able to match the depth of these two eye looks, and I hope I gave you some inspiration of an all matte eye look. I hope I gave you some inspiration of what you can do if you just have a little bit of a gradient in colorful mattes or in neutral mattes. A beige, a mid brown, and a dark brown. That could be this as well, and just a little something light in the inner corners. I will say this really should have been edited down a little bit, but for what it's worth, the formula is really good. This is a really good colorful matte formula, and I do think that there are some different colors here. Like all of these three, they're so different. This one and this one, they're so different. This is almost like a blurple dark blue, and then of course the turquoises. I just think that this should have been a 12 pan. This should have been a 12 pan and it would have been a killer 12 pan, but because it is a 20 pan, it just makes it a little bit too big and too redundant. And I do think, and this is something that a friend of mine who was a photographer back when I was modeling, he taught me the concept of kill your darlings. Sometimes even though you love something, you have to kill your darlings in order to really minimize and to hone in on your portfolio to show just the best of the best, because sometimes something that you love might not necessarily be what your clients love, and especially not when you're showing them 5 of the same picture. And I feel the same about this one. Even though I didn't see any problems with any of the shades I worked with, and technically all 20 of these, if they're the same matte formula, which I am assuming, this could be 20 shades of great eyeshadows. Some of them are just a little bit too similar. But I do think that this is a great formula, and I really hope they keep this one. I would love to see more palettes like this, just a little bit more curated. If it's gonna be, because I like that it's a color scheme with only 2 colors. It's good. It's just, it is like a 75% good and a 25% this needed a little work. Okay, that was look number 2. So here's the thing, I usually do not swatch palettes before I do a look, but I had to swatch some of the shimmers. I mean, you've seen the swatches, you've seen them, but now I can tell you, these are so nice, and I have to do something with the orange Juno. I've seen some looks floating around with this, even though I haven't watched a video of this, and a lot of people are doing more grungy greens, which I get because this corner is truly amazing. But I think we're gonna play with these 3 colors and then the matte white, that's Barbara. So I'm gonna start with a brush that's stained red, and I'm gonna use the color that is called Lydia. And I am just gonna stamp that. Eee. Let me see if I can pick up a little more. Maybe this brush is too soft. No. I just need it. This is one of those where you can't just pat, you actually have to swirl a little bit. But then you do that, it definitely picks up. What I want to try and do that I haven't done in a hot minute is that I want to try and do a cut crease detail with the white. So I feel, I do wish that this red was not, it's a true red, but I wish it wasn't as hard pressed because I really do have to swirl my brush in it. But I mean, I get pigment when I do that, but I wish I didn't have to. I think you understand. And yeah, I'm wearing my striped PJs. I was gonna like change out of this, but then I was like, see, this is probably as Beetlejuice as I'm gonna get with this palette. I think it is inspired. I think this is Lydia, right, on the front. I've only seen Beetlejuice twice in my life. I don't hate Halloween, but I'm definitely not a Halloween girl. I am a summer girl. I love the summer. I love being by the pool, being by the beach, enjoying warm summer nights. That's me. That's what I love. So I understand that a lot of other people are like, oh my god, fall season and Halloween and all that. And I hear you. I just don't agree with you. So I've been working with this for a little bit now, and I feel like it blended out fairly good to something. I mean, there's nothing else in this palette that I can use like a transition shade, so red it is. Red it is. I want to use a little bit of this black. It's called Adam, but it has like green specks in it, but I'm like, screw it. I feel like YOLO, just going in with this, right? This is gonna work out. Or maybe not even YOLO, maybe Leroy Jenkins. If you know, you know. I really like how that looks, and now that I'm blending, I don't see any of those green specks. I feel like that is something to make it look a little prettier in the palette. Usually specks like that help with the blending as well, and if you pack it on, you will usually see the specks. Like if you want to have like a super smoky eye with that black matte shadow, and then, wow, and then just get some of the specks on the lid, then you will probably see it. I am, to the best of my ability, gonna try and blend these into each other. Oh my god. Am I okay? Am I okay? I feel like that is pretty okay. I don't care about the lid. We're gonna put the orange there, so don't worry about that. But I feel like we're in a good spot putting it like that, right? Is that a good spot? Like, I want it to be dark and smoky, but I don't want it to totally take over. But that is nice, right? I think I'm gonna put these two mattes on my lower lashes as well. Okay, so screw everything else. I wanna do the shade Juno on my lid. I'm gonna put this on the middle of my lid, and I'm gonna save a little bit of space. I think I'm gonna meet up with the Witch Doctor, this shade, just a little bit towards the outer. I'm not 100% sure. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like these colors blended together somewhat decently. The black is extremely pigmented, and I do wish, I love how I spritzed that first spritz absolutely into nowhere. Nothing benefited from that. But I wish the red one picked up the way that the black one picks up. I will say that these shimmers are truly spectacular. So I'm just putting it like this and not all the way in. What am I doing? Famous last words. But like, I think I'm gonna do it like this, and then I'll finish this eye up, and I can do with the other eye. So this is Witch Doctor, which is the slightly darker one, and I'm just putting that on the edge here. Just a little bit. Here's the thing, I want to do something with the white. Let me see if I can find a really nice detailed flat brush. So I'm gonna do something with Barbara, which is the white, but I think I might need some kind of a base. I'm just using a little bead like this, and I am gonna put that like that, and then I am just gonna see if I can cut the crease. I also need to blend it out here in the inner corner. Let me clean that brush off, and then we're taking the white shade that is called Barbara, and we are gonna see if we can just set this. Now let's go back with the Juno shade, and let's see how we can fade these two together. because I just want to have that white effect. Maybe I'll fill in that line with the white liner and some... Am I gonna do red in my waterline? Might do red in my waterline, or maybe white because of this. Oh, I'll do white. That's gonna be so pretty. It's been decided. So the look is pretty much done. I put on mascara. I put on my favorite liner for doing details like this. It's Graceland by Colourpop. I still love this one. I've had this one for years. I think it's amazing. And in the waterline, I am using the white from Odensai. This is my new favorite white for the waterline. I think it's really, really good, and on me it holds up. So this is where we're at right now. I'm thinking about changing the lippy. So I'm gonna put on some falsies and I'll change the lippy. You'll see what I chose in 3, 2, 1. So I decided to go full on Halloween fantasy with a black lipstick. I actually used one of the lip clays from Kaleidos. I will try and remember to link at least the lip options that I'm wearing. I don't know how much I'll be able to link in the description box. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, since I'm doing several different looks over several different days. I don't know 100% what I'll be able to link. What do I feel about this eyeshadow palette? I think just from using 2 mattes and 2 shimmers, I definitely think the shimmers are the star of the show. They are absolutely incredible. Like, these shimmers are incredible, like truly incredible. The black was really good too. The only one, like, because I haven't used the other mattes, let me just swatch them as this one comes off really nice, this one too. The white one is a little thin, and I noticed that as I was using it. This purple is actually a satin, the Beetlejuice. It has a little bit of a satin sheen in it. I just think that this red, you can even see it here, it is a little bit too hard pressed. It was a little bit hard to pick up, but I think that both of these green mattes picked up really, really nice. I think that they have really nailed their shimmer formula, but some of the mattes still need a little work so that they can be as consistent and as good as the shimmers. But honestly, I mean, look at the look. I still made a really cool look. You just need to pack it on a little bit. But at least this is a matte formula that's buildable. As long as it's buildable, you can just work with it a little bit more. I was able to build, I was able to blend. So I still think that this is a really good eyeshadow palette, especially the shimmers. The shimmers truly are the star of the show. But I'm enjoying this look. Let's get into the next one. I've been swatching the shimmers a little bit because I want to see what I want to do. This one has an orange base with like a purpley lime green sheen to it. So I kind of want to match this one, and this one because I feel like they would really go well together. So I'm going to start with this orange one in the crease that's called Haunted. I have big hopes and dreams for how I think that this look is going to turn out. So everybody like cross your fingers and hope for the best. So I am gonna push this one into the crease. That is such a nice orange, because I want this to be the main color, and for that reason I'm starting with this one. I mean, I can't do Halloween without orange. Let me live. I think I'm gonna put some of this under my eyes too. Am I gonna use this brush? Maybe. It's a little pinched. Yeah, that'll work out. Gotta say, very pleased with this. It's only one shadow so far. I'm gonna use this one that's called Fright. It is like a dark aubergine color. So I'm gonna use this one, and we are gonna see if I can deepen this up a little bit before I go in with the Apple Bob. I don't know what Apple Bob is. That like almost lime green shimmer. Oh, that's nice. It is pigmented, but not too pigmented. I can move it around. I can build it on top of the orange. I can build on top of it. That is a nice matte formula in my book. So this is the color Apple Bob. So we're going to use this one, and then we're going to use this one that's called Pumpkin. These are the two shades we're going to use. I have the green on my brush. This one feels more like a typical shimmer. When I swatched it, the other one felt more like a multi-chrome that has some base, but not 100% opaque. You can see this one is more opaque. So I'm going to put... That is so fun. I'm going to put this green here in the inner part, meeting up, and we're going to use that pumpkin shade as like a bridge color because it is both orange and green. I hope it's gonna work out, nobody knows. So this is the pumpkin shade. You can see both the orange and the green on the brush. I am gonna spray it, and we're putting that as a bridge color in between here. You can see this one is a little bit more reflective than the lime green one, and you can definitely see the shift here. Goes to that pink orange. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good choice. Just patting this where they meet. And you can definitely see that that one works perfectly as a bridging color. Absolutely amazing. Let me do the same on the lower lash line too, just so we emulate the same look. I mean, this palette does have a matte white that's called Ghoul, so we're obviously using that one. Like there's like who thought anything else? I love a matte white inner corner. That is really pretty. Not the most opaque white I've ever tried in my life, but definitely opaque enough to be used as an inner corner highlight. I love it. Is this my favorite look? It might be my favorite look. I've liked all the looks I've done, but I think that this one might just be boop, a little step above the other ones. Just a little smidgen. Okay, let me finish this up and we can have a final chat about all 4 of these palettes. So this is the finished look, and I gotta say, I love this look. I think that this is my favorite. Let me see, I have the palettes here in front of me. All the 4 palettes here that I've been doing these looks with. Please let me know if you enjoyed this kind of a video. Let me know if there's anything you think I can do to improve this video. Would you still be interested in this in the future if I did it with 2 looks or 3 looks? Because like 4 looks, I did with 4 looks because I had 4 new palettes, but would you like a mini indie palette roundup either way, even if it's less palettes than 4? Please let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear about it down in the comments. As for my favorites, I think my favorite matte formula is the one that's in the Mattes by Sugar Drizzle, and I really hope to see more of that in the future, maybe in something that's a little bit more edited. I think when it comes to the shimmers, I think that the Strange and Unusual has the best shimmers. These are just absolutely incredible. Like, the shimmers are incredible. The mattes are not bad, but they're not my favorite. The shimmers in this one are absolutely incredible as well. And I will say, a 9 pan is just so amazing, and I gotta say, I just wish that we got to see more 9 pans. I feel like 9 is such a nice, I don't know, 9 and 12, there's just something about it that just, in a way, it's enough. Overall, I think that the Spooked might be my favorite palette. I like this as well, the long one. How many are these? 3, 6, 14? Yeah, that's a nice number as well. I like something that's in between 8 and 16. I feel like that's a nice, like, in between there is the amount of shades that I would like to have. I think overall, this is my favorite because I didn't have any problems with the mask. They're very easy to work with. The shimmers are really nice, even though I think both of those shimmers here do translate very neutral. And personally, I don't reach for neutral shimmers that often. But besides that, they are really beautiful shimmers. And if you are more into a mix between colors and like neutrals, I think that that palette could be really good for you. Like I said, all the info is going to be down in the description box. Do check out the info if you're interested in any of these palettes. And if you're trying to shop less like me, remember you can always recreate these looks, but the things that you have at home, maybe you already have similar things at home, maybe you got some inspiration. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again tomorrow for a new video. Bye!